Hey everyone, Gogan again, coming up with an extended tutorial for you to watch and enjoy, right? Today we're covering the IKFK switch, okay? Real quick before we start and jump into this tutorial, guys, please hit that like and subscribe button so I can keep making these videos, and I know that you guys really like it. Please leave any comments or feedback or anything you want so that I know like what I can put in my next videos, so we really know, so we can really push these tutorials and really get you guys what you guys need. Thanks, guys. So I've already posed out the model. So that we didn't have to take all the time doing that. Okay, this is the pose I have. Like things I want to point out are like the weight here on the arm, and like how like all of her weight is on this leg here, and then how the hip is like taking all that weight, and then all the upper body weight is on this shoulder. Okay, on this pose, and then how the chest and the hips are like countering each other. Okay, make sure you get that in that pose in there if you want to follow along this video. We're gonna go ahead and just like get started. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and add in our like this is gonna consist of like 3 poses. Okay, it's gonna consist of this pose, a downward pose to push off, and then a pose of her resting. Okay, so right here we're gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna set 3 keys. Right? I know that there's going to be 3 keys. Maybe there can be one more breakdown in there, but for right now, it's just going to be 3 keys. Okay? And then this isn't going to be too hard. This is just going to be a bend down, right? For bending down like this to like push off of the table, right? She's bending down, push off the table. Her head's going to go down as well. Okay? We're going to build that pose in there. I'm not going to worry too much about anything with the hands right now. Like, getting the hands to do anything, that's more of a polishy thing. Right now we're just trying to get the storytelling poses, right? So we're just like bending down, and then we're going to let's make sure that we're grabbing all of the controls, and you can grab all of her controls over here in the outliner. Okay, this is something really nice that Agora has given us. You'll notice that this pose is in here. I set the pose, prematurely. It's fine, before I made this pose, it's okay. We can just delete it and then press S again so we can build out that pose from here, from this pose right here. And actually, it might be better to build it out from this pose since she's more of a standing pose here. So let's go ahead and build out this pose. Her shoulder is going to rest. We're going to go more of a resting state, right? Okay, so I went ahead and built out this pose now. Okay, I just have her hands resting behind her back, right? This feels like a really natural pose for her body. Her hips are kind of a little bit wider compared to like what her arms are doing, because they have to kind of be diagonal out to the sides and everything, right? I went ahead and did the hip on the same side since she was already rested on that, and it seemed natural to just have her stand up and go into that kind of a pose, right? We have the hands in the FK mode, okay? And yeah, we have this whole, these 3 built out, okay? So now we're going to make sure that we have a key on every control, okay? Just like always, it's greater than sign, or sorry, less than sign to step over a key and then press S. So then we set a key on every control, okay? And then let's go ahead and time this out, okay? Let's see here. Oh, make sure that we are in stepped mode. She goes down and then up into her resting pose, right? So I know that I'm gonna have kind of like a teeter of some sort, so I'm gonna go ahead and make a couple of keys there. Okay, we're gonna extend this out just a little bit. Seems a little fast when she bends down, bends down, then goes up. Okay, so if I were to just go ahead and hit the spline button now, she would just kind of, right, don't want that. We want her to bend down, hold for just a minute, and then stand up. And that spacing right there is a little fast. Okay, so I want to give that a little more frames. Okay, if we want to, we can build out, since we know that she's going to teeter a bit, we can go ahead and just build that out right here if we want. Okay, she can come forward. Maybe she's going to lean back when she, okay, like that. And we're going to let all the other, we're going to build the overlap and everything of the arms like swing as we, and the head, like that's all secondary kind of stuff. And so I don't want to put that in here. Again, I block really minimally. Okay, I don't want to take so much time on that. Okay, so checking that out. I like that timing. Let's go ahead and make less frames so we can view it better, right? Pushes down on the desk and then stands up, right? Feels pretty natural. Okay, so again, make sure just before I hit the spline button, I'm gonna make sure that I have a key on every single control. Okay, select all the controls with this little doohickey control set here. Select all the controls, right click, select all set members, make sure there's a key on everything. Okay, and then we are gonna go ahead and hit the spline button, the famous spline button, and destroy our animation. Okay, maybe it should just be called this destroy animation button, right? Okay, so she's going down and she stands up, right? Exactly what we want. But as you notice, as that transition happens right here, obviously it's getting pretty squirrely. Okay, what we want to do is we want to make sure to lock that down somewhere, but we want to lock it down midway through the motion. Okay, that's the secret here, is midway through the biggest motion that we can. And this is the biggest motion, right here, when she stands up. Okay, so we want to go ahead and grab this here. This is where her IKFK switches live. Okay, we're gonna have a set key right there. Okay, make sure that we are completely in this case it's gonna be our IK because we started an IK. Okay, so we need to make sure it's completely in IK mode, which is 0, which is right there. Okay, and then on the next frame it's gonna go completely to FK mode. Okay, and she's gonna be going and just like that. Okay, it snaps from IK into FK in one frame. And that's what we want. Okay, so now we need to build out this pose here that she's sliding off of the desk with. Okay, and looks like we're getting some fancy gimbal here. Okay, right here, go and get rid of the obvious problem, which is the gimbal lock, Euler filter, right? Euler filter. I guess it's called Euler filter. I called it Euler filter for the longest time, but it's Euler filter, I guess. Anyway, so let's go ahead and curves, Euler filter that, and now it goes down. Not the prettiest yet. So the switch happens right here, right? Obviously, you can see that the controls appear, the IK controls appear. So on that, we're going to just give ourselves, well, let's build in that IK pose first, okay, of sliding off the desk. Okay, let's see right here. And we might actually want to move that switch down just a little bit farther, just so that our hands are clear of the desk first, and then they're more in like the mid-range, right? Like right here on the, so more like right, see where it switches right there, more like right here is when it switch. We want it to switch, not when it's sliding off the desk, because then we have to build up that pose of the hand of the FK still on the desk, and that still creates kind of a big jump and a problem. It's going to be a lot easier for us to take care of that right here instead. Okay, and it's going to be a lot smoother. Okay, so now let's pose out. Since we got that in a better location, right? Let's go ahead and build out that new FK pose. It's going up right here like this, right? And maybe we want to make sure and bend this arm just a little bit more, like this, or bring it forward a bit more, so that when we do the switch, the arm can drop better, right? Like this. Now it looks like we gotta play with it a little bit here to get ourselves, to make sure we have some movement with the arm. Okay. The other thing that might help us is, like, right now her hands are leaving the desk at the same time as her like leaning back. Obviously that would not happen in real life. People would push off the desk with their hand, and so their hand is going to be lag a bit behind, right? Even more so than that. So if we're going to do that, we need to grab our switch controls, and we need to push all of this back. Like that, right? That's more natural. That's what people are going to do. They're going to push off the desk and then do it like that. Okay? And with that said, that'll give us more room to play with the switch when it happens, right? We can get rid of that. And see how far like the arm is like having to swing back? That's working in our advantage. You can see already that it's already looking way more natural with its when it switches, right? You can't even tell. Tutorial over, right? No. Technically, like I've shown you what to do, but we're gonna polish this out just a little bit. Okay, so really the only thing we need to do, honestly, now is give that a little bit more follow through, right? So the Y here, and we don't have it rotating at all yet. And so what we can do is we can build in that backwards rotation like this. Okay, and we're gonna have an overshoot, and then on the back end, settle, right? And that is already working for us. Just like that, okay? That's a little jumpy, just a tiny bit when the switch happens on the forearm, okay? And then we can just build in the poses on the forearm, coming back, and then coming forward again. Just like that, right? That's feeling really good already. This isn't a huge, hard animation if you're doing the IKFK switch like this, right? This would have taken me a lot more time if I would have tried to do the switch on the desk, right? So much more time when our hands are on this, which was what a lot of people do, and I even used to do it. But then I had this epiphany, honestly. I remember one day I had the epiphany, and the animation wasn't with the when it was on the desk, but I did it just came to me, right? It just came to me, honestly. And I was like, oh my gosh. And so I tried it out, and I was floored. I was ecstatic. I didn't know what to feel. I was like mad, and I was happy at the same time, because like for years I'd been doing it the hard way when I could have just been doing it this way. And then the cool thing is my at the time, my boss, my supervisor, he actually told me the trick, and he's like, yeah, I learned this just the other day from this other animator. And I'm like, I didn't say that I had learned it already, but I didn't want to make him feel weird. But I had realized that myself, and I'm like, yes, yes. Okay, so this arm starts speeding up, right, when it switches. It kind of goes and then starts speeding up. We want that to feel a little more natural, so we're going to go ahead and just pull this over here like this, so it doesn't just all of a sudden speed up, right? We're giving it more time. It doesn't matter when the switch happens. What matters is like how fast this arm is doing that movement, right? This arm here is doing that movement. We can move these keys over, the FK keys, controls keys over wherever we want. It doesn't matter because they don't show up till like this point, right? And so it really doesn't matter. Oh, I still got my spear in here of where I did the old thing of when I did the switch before. Okay. All right. So we have this happening here, and this is looking great, right? Pull this back. That's a little jumpy, just a little bit. So let's go ahead and pull it up like this so it's a little more natural. That feels really good, right? So now that we've got the switch happening really easily and naturally, right, we're going to go ahead and build in like all of our like nice little like I actually didn't do this, which I usually do this first, is I build in my, or like I make sure there's no flats, right? I usually make sure I do that first, but I was a little too excited to show you guys, like the switch, right? It's exciting stuff, really is. And, you know, we're such nerds, us animators. Uh, but yeah. Anyway, uh, make sure there's no flats there, right? She's anticipating pushing off that desk, okay? She's going to overlap. Her chest is going to overlap. It's going to go like this, back, and she's going to rock forward. Right? Of course, when somebody pushes off something, they're going to also go down with the body. Right? So let's go ahead and build that in right here. And just to get a little bit more downwardness from the upper body, I'm going to go ahead and put that in there like that. Okay. When somebody's going to push off the desk like that, they are going to use their shoulders. Okay. The shoulders are going to come back. They're really going to engage their shoulders to really take on all that weight. So I want to make sure that I show that in the shoulders. Okay. Push them up, push them backwards. And then as they leave the desk, right, we need to make sure we do it at the right time. Push forward, and then they're really going to drag behind right here. Forward. So this is where you got to be a little bit careful, okay? Because the shoulders on the IK, we built in that IK, right? The shoulders need to match where they were before, so they need to come back so that IK doesn't get messed up, right? And because we already built that in, and I didn't switch. Okay, there. Okay. I didn't, so the reason that was happening is because I didn't switch, like, the arms to, like, follow the cog control, right? So that the shoulders didn't affect the arms, and that's okay. Okay, we just built it in right here, and it's working for us. Okay, but we gotta build that shoulder in, so we need to bring those a little bit forward, because the shoulder does the main action, right, of the arms. Okay, and then, you know, that's looking really good so far. Let's get the head in there now. Let's do the offset and all that stuff with the head. Okay, she's going down and push off the desk. Maybe she has just a little bit of overlap here. She's gonna have overlap on the head right here. It's coming in too fast, right? So let's see. We're gonna add a couple of frames here, right? It's going back to this pose too fast. She needs to rock back with her head and then rock forward. So we need to add some frames there, okay? Rock back with the head right here, and then she's gonna rock forward. Okay, and ease into that. I want to ease into that more. I'm gonna delete this last one since it's too far back. Okay, I'm gonna ease into this more. Okay. I'm going to go ahead now and make sure that my hips are taking on, like, balancing out that weight. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and take it, and she's transferring the weight onto both hips now because she's going to push off the desk. So she's going to go like this. Okay. And then more towards the end, she's going to then be back onto that hip. But she needs to, you know, like, come over before she does that. Come back since she's putting that weight back onto that hip more, so we need to show that. And then since she's coming back over, we need to add just a smidgen of a dip. Okay. That's what happens every time a weight transfer happens. Okay, you need to make sure that dip is in there if you're ever doing a weight transfer. Okay. Want to polish this just a little bit more? We can go ahead and have the chest be pushing off with one arm. This is the dominant arm that's doing the pushing. So we can go ahead and have her chest rotating this way as she pushes off, right? Don't want it to snap too quickly back, so we're going to put that in there. Okay, not going to go too deep into polish on this animation, just because the point of this tutorial, I wanted to keep the point of this tutorial to show the IKFK switch and how to do it naturally, which is what we did. Okay, we're going to bring this all the way to here. Okay, delete this. The hand is going to remain flat. We want to bring it to here. The fingers are going to remain flat because they're sliding off of the desk, right? Okay, and we can build in, we're going to build in I might not do it as detailed right here, right now, but, I mean, this looks good like this, right? Obviously, there's polish here that needs to happen because the fingers are going to slide off and curl as they go down. And we'll go ahead and just build in a quick pose here, right? Just to show you guys, similarly to what I did in the video, okay? We might need to change that pose just a little bit, and that's okay. So the wrist, we haven't done the wrist here yet, which is fine. We hadn't added any, like, anything to the wrist yet, so that's good. We're doing that now. Have it drag just a bit behind, go like this. And if we want to bring that all the way here, we can, and then have the hand go like this. Perfect, right? Look how beautiful that settle is, right? That hand rolling, sliding off the desk is looking pretty good. Just keep doing it like this. I'm liking how that's feeling. Okay, for now. I don't know if I'm going to push it any farther just for the tutorial, but yeah. So let's move these elbows like this. Pull these in. They're a little bit wobbly. Her elbows need a... You can't have the wobbly elbows because it takes away weight, right? Obviously, it doesn't look very good, but also the reason we don't want to have these wobbly elbows is because it really takes away the weight from the character. And we want to make sure, especially in this one, this shot, this little movement here, is very, very heavily reliant on weight, right? Because of the nature of what it is, it's very heavily reliant on weight. So we need to make sure her hands feel really, like, have a lot of weight, right? We never really paid attention to, like, this arm quite as much, so let's go ahead and fix that arm on the switch. Okay, let's see here. So it's not that it doesn't happen naturally, because from this angle it really does. So what we really need to do is we just need to look at it from the front angle, okay? And just make sure that pose matches. There's something that I try to make sure I do whenever I'm, like, animating these kinds of... There's something I try to do when I'm animating these kinds of, like, arm movements and everything in FK anytime. I make sure that I do not rotate the forearm, okay, any way that it naturally wouldn't rotate, okay? So it's going to rotate like this. A forearm doesn't do this, right? You can't do that. You'll break your arm, okay? And I try to make sure that I, like, as much as possible, I try to make it so only the forearm is going to bend like this, just because that's a way a regular human body would bend. If I try and do it like some awkward way without twisting the upper arm, because you have to twist this upper arm in order to get this movement, right? This upper arm is going to twist, okay? If you can't humanly do the movement in, like, actual, like, you know, anatomy, it's going to look broken. Depending on the shot, it's going to look broken in the animation. So I try to stick to human anatomy as much as possible and try to get as much natural movement as I can. Now, like, if I get deep into polish and I want to, like, beautiful arc or, like, a beautiful bend bow on my arms or something like that, that's when I'm going to add that, but not by a ton. I'm going to try and do as much as I can with this rotation on this arm right here, Okay, just like this, because I'm getting pretty much the same result as if I'm breaking the arm. Okay, I'm getting the same result, but it's natural. It's the way it's supposed to work, right? So I want to make sure I try and do that as much as possible. Looks like the switch. I have the switch happening in the wrong, just a little too much in the wrong place. Okay, it's right here. Let's bring this over. Okay, so that it's not protruding the leg, and that's what the problem is. We can do that, and then what we can do is do this, pull that over. There we go. Now that's more natural, right, for that arm. And because it kind of stops and speeds back up, we can go ahead and grab the F key, just like before. We can grab this control and we can move it back a bit. See what that gives us. Let's see. Move that forward, and then as it goes back. There we go. That feels natural, right? More natural. Okay, and now it feels natural, more natural from the front. Okay, and just like the other hand, we're going to keep all these controls like this. We're going to hold these down until the hand starts sliding, right? Just like that. Okay. Now, here's something that we need to pay attention to. If we ever want to we want to offset these sliding, right? Because they're kind of happening a little too close together. So what we can do is, if we ever want to move anything back and we still want to keep our opposes intact, so that the IKFK matching is happening, you need to select all the controls involved, right? So we have the shoulder, we have they have the IK control, all the fingers, we have the elbow. Now we need to select all the FK controls, okay? And now we can move those back, right? So we can get that off, more of that sliding offset, okay? Maybe by just a frame. Okay, maybe this is too fast. But as you can see, our natural, arm movement for the switching is still intact, right? That's because we all of the stuff that was involved in the arm, we already selected it and moved it over, okay? That kind of pops, but it's not because of the... Oh. One thing we did not do. I'm wrong. I was wrong in this. My mistake. So let's move all these back, okay? We need to grab... We need to make sure we have everything grabbed. Okay, so we need to grab all the FK, all the IK, which is the shoulder, elbow, hand, and fingers. Go back here to the FK, make sure all the FK is grabbed, and then grab this. This is where the magic happens, the IKFK switch, right? Okay, that happening still too little at the same time. Now they're more offset. Okay, now it's accurate. Now it's still feeling natural when that switch happens, right? And now now we're switching from IK to FK like we should, okay? Sorry for that mistake. Happening in the big movement, right there, right? Boom. Let's make sure our fingers stay planted until things are going to move. Okay. About right here. Move over just one frame, I get, maybe. Okay. Let's fix that elbow real quick. So it's not wobbling so much. It's going to stay in this pose because it's holding some of that weight. Going to go like this. a little more polish that I cleaned up so it doesn't straighten out so much. So let's do that real quick before we end the tutorial. This can start sliding right now so we don't get so much of a pop on the arm. Okay. All right, everyone, we have the stand here. Okay. So, we have a successful tutorial on IKFK switching. Okay, this is as far as we're gonna bring this animation, right? I think it's working. We successfully switched the IK and FK control, and we added some polish in there. Okay, I think you guys can tell like how much more polish to add. I actually am gonna do another tutorial on like specifically what does polish mean. Okay, and we'll do another tutorial for that. But anyway, as always, you can go check out my Discord server. It's called the Animation Help, where I leave feedback for anybody that posts their shots. I try and check it daily. Okay, please keep watching these videos, and thank you so much for your support, guys. Have a great day. Happy animating.